man. Welcome back to the latest edition of the Rundown Presents the greatest NFL team ever tournament. 64 teams cut down to the Sweet 16 that we've got right now. And it's my pleasure to bring on special guests for this particular region. We're going to do two regional semifinal areas today. Two guys that have been on the Rundown previously. You probably know them. Starting off in the middle there, he is the lead sports anchor for WRAL in Raleigh, Chris Lee. And then we also have from the 3 Live crew, the morning top rated morning show on 102 Jamz here in the Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point area. Yeah, in the house. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's happening?
Not much, man. Love to be here. And what's great about this is Dot is who got me my first internship at 102 Jamz. And so, boom, my career exploded from there. So this feels great. Feels great.
And there's a little bit of reunion.
I'm just as irresponsible now as I was then because I'm clearly the only one that doesn't have headphones. So if there are some audio difficulties, it is 100% because of me.
And you used to borrow my headphones a lot.
I did used to borrow my headphones. Honest to God, I got to work this morning and had to go to 97.1 and get some headphones because I didn't have mine.
Oh my God.
I believe it. I totally believe it.
So this is a little bit of a intercom reunion, so to speak. For those that don't know, myself, Chris, Dot, we all have worked for or still work for 102 Jamz in some capacity over the past, I don't know, guys, like 20 plus years or so. So I knew when we put this tournament together.
16
Watch out now.
You ain't gonna dub me.
So I knew when I put this tournament together, I was like, okay, who would I want to have like matched up as judges down the road? And I was like, I got to put Chris and Dot together in some kind of capacity somewhere down the road. So it kind of worked out. For those new to the game, we've got 4 games today. These guys are going to select half of the Elite 8 that'll be taking place in a couple of weeks. The name of the game is as follows. 2 teams will face off against each other from different eras. They are seeded, meaning that whoever the higher seeded team is, we play that game underneath the rules of that team's era. So if it's a team from the 70s, there's a higher rated seed. They're taking on a team from 2000. You're playing the game as if it's in 1970. So it affects how the game is played in terms of wide receivers getting off, people getting molested running down the field and whatnot. If Chris and Dot both pick the same team, my vote doesn't matter. So that team just moves on. If Chris picks one, Dot picks the other, I come in and debate for the tiebreaker, and that's how we get this whittled down from 64 to eventually 1. Dot, got a question?
I would just like to say that it's impossible for Sho and I to disagree on today's episode, unfortunately. If Sho has not picked the exact same teams I picked, then Sho is a moron. That's pretty much the point.
I'm glad you brought that up because the very first game here is actually an interesting one. It takes place in 1998. It's the 4 seed 1998 Denver Broncos, who were the Super Bowl champion that year, taking on the 8 seed and upstart, the 1988 Minnesota Vikings, who, if they had won the Super Bowl, this is the Super Bowl matchup that should have happened. And just through the brackets, it just ended up they meeting each other in the same region. If these Vikings had won that Super Bowl, we probably would have given them a 1 seed. They'd probably be considered the greatest team of NFL history, or one of, because they did not win their Super Bowl. That's why they're seeded so low. But since it's the same year, it doesn't really matter. It's a hypothetical matchup everybody wanted to see that year. Do you guys want to flip a coin or something to see who goes first, or does it matter? How you want to do this?
Dot can go first.
You'll let me go first?
You'll go? Okay. So, Dot, who would you select between those 2 and 1? Oh, whoops. Hold on. I took him off the screen there. Dot.
There we go.
Randy Moss. Moss in the 90s.
So,
huh?
You picking the Vikings. Okay, so tell us over the Denver Broncos here. Why are you picking the Vikings for that Denver Broncos team who were repeating from the year before?
Yes, and the Vikings slipped up, man. They slipped up and lost in the freaking NFC Championship game to those stupid Falcons. And everybody, of course, just like you were saying, were gearing up for that Vikings versus Broncos game. They had Randy Moss. He was a freak. Okay, you could not stop Randy Moss. They had, of course, Randall Cunningham, who had his best year possibly ever as a professional. Rob Smith, Chris Carter. Like, they were just ballers. They were some dogs out there. The offense was so up tempo. I think 556 total points that season. 24 was the lowest they scored in any game. Like, that squad was just unstoppable. They would not have had that fluke situation against the Falcons where Gary Anderson misses a field goal. The only field goal he misses all season. He misses
the whole year.
Late in the game. They would have gone up 10. Because they didn't, they go up 7. The Falcons win, or the Falcons tie it, win in overtime on some fluke. But other than that, that Vikings team was definitely supposed to already – we're not even supposed to be having this conversation because that team was already supposed to put Elway and them boys up out of there. You understand what I'm saying? I got to go with the 1998 Vikings.
I guess I'm a moron then, Dot.
Chris, we got one vote for the Vikings.
I guess I'm a moron.
Who you got between the Broncos and
because I mean the fact of the matter is they did lose. They lost. And so I don't know if you could put it in there. That year, if you're gonna take two teams from the same year and you match them up against one another and you take the Super Bowl champion from that year, it's just like saying, well, we have the the Chiefs from 2019 versus the Saints from 2019. But if the Saints just hadn't had fluked and slipped up and gotten out of the playoffs early in that first round, then maybe they would have beaten the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with the Broncos. The Broncos were stacked that year. You had Terrell Davis. You had Ed McCaffrey. You had Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? John Elway was not going to go out on his last year, not winning that after, of course, he won that year before, 97. But, of course, the times that he went there and failed his whole career, he was going to go out on top, man. And I think that was going to happen no matter who was going to be in there. Maybe the Dirty Birds made it a little bit easier, but I think Broncos would have won that. So I'm going to go with the Broncos.
Can I just say something?
But I'm a moron.
The Vikings were the better team that year. Again, yes, they lost, but even they did something that the Broncos couldn't do that season. The Broncos started out the year 13-0. Everybody was saying, oh, Broncos going to go 19-0. Didn't happen. Got punched in the face. Who went 14 games in a row? Who won 14 games in a row that season? The Minnesota Vikings. Who was 15-1 that season? Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings. They were dogs. I'm telling you, that fluke field goal, he hadn't missed a field goal all year or so. He misses.
It was a chip shot, too. Yeah, it was like a 26-yard field goal.
No way, man. I'm telling you. And
just on
the strength of the climate of today's climate, I got to go with the black quarterback and the black head coach and Dennis Green.
Mike, you gonna hit me too?
Hey, man, I'm with you. I really wanted to be with you on that because I thought about that. I like Dante Culpepper, but I just don't see it happening.
Okay, so I'm trying to think back to 98 and I'm trying to so there's a tie. So I got to figure this out. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen so early, but you guys did not disappoint me. I remember in 98 thinking the Vikings could score anytime they touched the football. Even with the Broncos going 13-0, I think TD had a 2,000-yard season rushing that year. Elway was kind of he was last year of his career hanging on, really. Not man hanging on, but he wasn't Elway from the 80s, at that point. It was all Terrell Davis. The Vikings just had so much. If they had actually saw each other, I think their defense would have had a problem with the Vikings. People don't talk about Robert Smith, the running back, a whole lot. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. The defense was stout. They were the Rams the year before the Rams. That's probably the best way to put them because the 99 Rams are floating around in this right now too. And I've always considered them one of the greatest offenses I've ever seen. But people forget about this Vikings team because they didn't win. They didn't win the Super Bowl. So do I want to give that to the Vikings even though they didn't make it to this game? That's Chris's point. The Vikings didn't get there. If they had got there, they probably would have beat Denver, but they didn't. So should I dock them for that? Because that's really not the point of the tournament. The tournament is if they saw each other, just hypothetical out in the street.
If Atlanta could trip them up, then the Broncos would have been able to.
That's not fair. The Giants tripped y'all up and the Dolphins.
See, I don't think Atlanta tripped them up.
Y'all got tripped up.
I don't even think Atlanta tripped them up.
And Atlanta was no slouch that season. Let's be clear.
Yeah, they weren't.
They were good. Yeah,
Bird dance,
they were good. Yeah, the Dirty Bird. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Let's be clear.
I think I'm gonna. My head says 98 Vikings. It really does. I don't.
Who guards Randy
These Broncos
Moss?
are defending Super Bowl champs. You still got Steve Atwater wandering around back there at safety. I don't even know who was it. Champ Bailey? Champ Bailey was on that Broncos team, wasn't he?
So you gonna let Chris Carter get off?
See, that's the problem. They got too many weapons. It's like I'm going with the Vikings.
Guess it should have worked against Atlanta, but it didn't.
I'm picking the Vikings. So one of the at-large teams has made it all the way to. Oh my gosh!
Not to mention the Falcons won on a freaking field goal in sudden death overtime. It ain't even like they beat the Vikings. Like the Vikings didn't even get a chance to freaking win.
Yeah,
like, man,
you're right. Yeah, the Vikings never touched the ball.
They had 60 minutes.
If it was,
had 60 minutes. They had a chance.
I'm picking the Vikings.
I think Desmond said
I'm just gonna pick the Vikings
on this one. 1 me, 0 show.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick the Vikings to move. I do remember that Denver team early on. Like I'm thinking, oh man, who's gonna stop TD like through that season because they did go 13-0, and then I think they rested players or something after they lost that first game, and then they lost a couple.
Well,
the Vikings though from week one,
about the Giants, and then I think the Dolphins, and then they came back and they
it was right there at the end.
And when they played the Dolphins in the playoffs, they beat them like 38-3. They smacked them like.
It's that Broncos team had Shannon Sharp on it. I mean, they had Hall of Famers on that team, but if it's just a one-off game against each other, I got to go with the Vikings too. And it makes me sad because I was just ragging on Aaron Gabriel and Brandon Blakeney because they're the reason why the Vikings are even still in this. They had them defeat the 85 Bears, so they move on. Next matchup in the Bears region. Now this is a good one too. The 2 seed. The 1991 Washington Redskins taking on the 2004 New England Patriots. That Washington Redskins team was a beast, and actually they've already been named the greatest team in NFL history by Pro Football Focus a couple years back. The Patriots team. This is the Patriots team that defended Super Bowl champ. They defeated the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. The squad with Terrell Owens coming back from a broken leg and all that stuff. These Patriots are just one of those early 2000 Patriots teams, lunch bucket. Defense led, Tom Brady nickel and diamond down the field type of Patriots team, and they just won. Like they just won every time they went on the field, and they never blew anybody out. They win by 3, they win by 4, but they just constantly won. So this one I'm gonna start off with this. Who would you pick between the 2 seed Redskins and the 04 Patriots? Keep on the Redskins are the higher seed, so this game is getting played in 1991 underneath 91 rules.
Even with that, I have to go with the Patriots just because it's the Patriots, man. And it's Bill Belichick, it's early Tom Brady, and I just kind of feel like with their defense is what you said is what led that team to where they are. And then if you can just hit a chip shot field goal at the end of the game, you're going to win. That's pretty much what they were set up for all the time. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it's the Patriots. It's hard for me to pick against Tom Brady, even though I want to. In my heart, I really want to. I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like Bill Belichick. I really want to pick against them, but they've proven, other than basically the NFC East, they're going to win every Super Bowl that they're in. So I'm just going to go with this. I guess the Redskins are in the NFC East, so maybe I need to change my pick.
Oh, yeah, you did just kind of.
Yeah, I just realized it. Yeah,
you going with the?
No, but I'm still going to go with the Patriots.
I mean, it ain't a bad pick. I mean,
yeah,
I feel you.
This one was my hardest one to pick. This was my hardest one because that Redskins team was an amazing team, but the dynasty that is the Patriots, I don't know, man. I gotta go.
This was not hard for me on any level. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly which team I was going to pick. Show you're proving that you are not a moron. Of course, it's the 2004 Patriots, right? I mean, yeah. First of all, we can't even reference them by their mascot because, in today's climate, there's no way I'm going to reference them as who they are. So I'm just going to say the Washington football program.
Right.
Mark Rippon, yes, he was a great quarterback. They had Art Monk, Gary Clark, Ernest Bond. They had some studs. They had the Hogs. I give you all of that. But that 2004 Patriots team, they weren't supposed to win anything. They lost 2 of their best corners. They had to put Troy Brown at corner. Do y'all remember how ridiculous we thought that was to have number 80 on defense, guarding people and doing a damn good job? Like, that just showed the don't give a damnness of Bill Belichick. That just show, I'm serious, man. That just showed his greatness. And then the way they dismantled, and you can say it was the weather, you can say whatever, but the way they dismantled that Colts team, they embarrassed Peyton Manning that year.
Yes.
Bro, Peyton Manning, he didn't score. He led the league in touchdowns that year, and they didn't even score a touchdown that game. They only scored 3 points in the playoffs that game. Then he goes on, he went through, like, you got to give it to 2004. Just like you said, man, they're a dynasty team. I'm not a Patriots fan. Hate the Patriots. I like Tom Brady. I think he's a fiery guy. I like him. I'm going to love seeing him down in Tampa Bay, but I'm not a Patriots fan. It hurt me to pick the 2004 Patriots, but I would never. I remember being at one of my best friends in 1991 was a Buffalo Bills fan. I mean, he was a huge Bills fan. Wore the jackets, had a Thurman Thomas jersey, loved the Bills. I was at a Super Bowl party when the damn Washington football team beat the Bills. I remember seeing my best friend cry big tears, gator tears, like he had lost a family member. It was crushed. I never forgave the Redskins for that. And what kind of last name is Ripken anyway? It doesn't even sound like it's spelled. I don't like anything about it. Art Monk, a lot of respect for him, but to hell with the Washington football program. 2004 Patriots, damn right.
So
doesn't matter what you
so my vote don't matter because you both fast. Yeah. So the Patriots move on. I do have to say, I also third the whole hate the Patriots movement thing, which makes it even harder for me this upcoming season if we have one, because now I feel like I have to watch every Patriots game because Cam Newton's going to be the quarterback, and it's like must see TV at this point. Like revenge scorched earth tour. That's what I feel like is going to happen all year, and it's almost like seeing. Now you can relate. It's like, or you could too, because you're a Duke fan, Chris. It'd be like seeing your favorite Duke player transfer to Carolina, or seeing your favorite Carolina player transfer to Duke.
It's not.
It's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
It's not that bad.
No,
it's not that bad. If we would have played for the Saints or the Falcons, then that's when it's more like
some reason around here though.
From Duke to Kentucky. It's like I don't really like it,
I don't
but
like them, but I guess I can root for
them. Yeah.
I do want to just say this too.
I guess you got a point there, but it hurts.
The Eagles team that the Patriots beat that year, I think they are better, at least more athletic than that daggone Washington 91 team. And from that perspective, the fact that they could beat, even though T.O. wasn't 100%, the fact that 2014 could beat that Donovan McNabb-led Eagles team that was destined to win that game, they'll smack the Deadskins.
Eagles should have won that game.
Yes.
I can't even name who were the wide receivers on that Eagles team besides Terrell Owens. I remember it was like a bunch of no-name receivers.
And you remember one of them
carrying around like a heavyweight belt all the time.
One of them said he didn't know who the Patriots defensive backs were. And they used that as bulletin board material and cooked them.
Well, one of them is my co-host on the Believe in Carolina Panthers podcast, Tyrone Poole. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. Me and him were just talking about that 04 Patriots team last night, and you were saying that it was him and can't remember now, but it was him and somebody else. Ty Law, that's what it was. It was him and Ty Law were the cornerbacks for those 2 years, and. They weren't bad. This 04 Patriots team, they went into. Yeah, that's who got hurt.
Think about that 04 team.
I'm a little upset with both of y'all. I just realized what happened. Y'all just knocked the 91 Redskins out. I was thinking the whole way.
Y'all remember Corey Dillon?
That Corey Dillon. And Corey Dillon's like another one of these long rows. Yeah, he's one of these same type of guys. Just the same thing the Patriots just did. You get a vet that's like at the end of the road. Everybody's wrote him off. Bill Belichick brings him in, squeezes another year out of him, and then they toss him off to the side, and they get him for cheap. Corey Dillon, I think he rushed for over 1,000 yards in that season. So, I mean, Patriots boom. So, we got Bear regional finals locked. The 98 Vikings taking on the 2004 Patriots. That'll be in a different episode here coming on down the way. This is Chris Lee from WRAL in Raleigh and B-Daht making business decisions over here. I can't believe y'all just knocked the 91 Redskins out. Like, they were like really hard to beat. They were very, very good.
They never had Belichick.
Man, okay, so I'll vote. They never, and I should have invoked the Aaron Gabriel rule because we made this up way back in April whenever the Patriots play, because the Patriots were not the higher seed in that game. So the Patriots can't use video cameras. They can't cheat. They can't do any of the things they were known for. Actually, the 04 Patriots, that's when they really got off. They were recording the Eagles. So they were the lower seed, though, so they can't use the cameers. But y'all picked the Patriots anyway.
But look, though, you win 6
That
Super
don't
Bowls.
change it. That don't change it at
win
all.
6 Super Bowls. Like, how much
okay.
can you say somebody's cheating at that point? Like, and why hasn't anybody else
whole
figured out that level of cheating?
A whole lot.
Like that's not
like
cheating.
Times. 3 separate times.
At that point, it's not cheating. At that point, it's not cheating. You just better. You got a better coach. You got the better quarterback. It's not cheating.
What? You're just really good at cheating. You're a professional cheater. You're a habitual cheater. That's what happens at the end. You're just habitually cheating like all the time.
They're the Ric Flair of the NFL football world. But like they figured it out. Ric Flair is still one of the GOATs. So
yeah, that's true. So Patriots move on. So move on 49ers region. This is an interesting matchup right here. The 3 seed, the 1996 Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre in an MVP year. Antonio Freeman, I think Andre Rice on that squad. Reggie White causing havoc everywhere. Taking on 10 seed 2019 Kansas City Chiefs. Project Pat, Big Money Mahomes, leading this Chiefs team that I've doubted for the past 2 years, and I said I will never doubt them again after the nonsense they just did in this year's playoffs, coming from behind 3 straight times, embarrassing folks. Chris, I'm gonna let you go first on this one here. 6 Green Bay Packers with Brett Favre, or the 2019 Chiefs with Mahomes becoming the greatest of all time after 3 seasons.
This was one that I toiled over a little bit at first too, but I started thinking about the actual game and the actual matchup. And, I'm friends with Jeremy White, who's Reggie White's son. That's my homie. And I'm just imagining Reggie White in the backfield trying to get to Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes will make him look stupid. He didn't make it, it's hard to make Reggie White look stupid, but we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and we're seeing greatness right here blossom right in front of our eyes. And so, man, that Green Bay team was a monster, and you put them up against almost anybody other than this Chiefs team. Maybe they're going to win, but this Chiefs team is just going to be way too fast for that Green Bay defense. And we've seen what the Chiefs did even in the playoffs. You could be down by 20, 25 points. It doesn't matter. They're coming back and they're going to smack you by 25 points, even though they were down. So I have to go with the Chiefs, man. And, I really wanted to go from that 96 Green Bay team is the team that made me fall in love with football. I was 10 years old. But, bro, it's really hard to pick up. Like what I saw this year from Patrick Mahomes and his team, literally down in the hole, and it looks like they're going to get smacked around, and they come back and they smack another team. And it happened within a blink of an eye. You go get something to drink, and all of a sudden they're up by 10, and they were just down by 25. So I got to go Chiefs.
So I wonder if you're living in the moment.
Straight video games with Kansas City, like it shouldn't even be. Like it really shouldn't even happen.
I wonder if Show is living in the moment, because you got to
hit it, Dot. You got it.
When you talk about these 1996 Green Bay Packers, you talk about one of the only teams in history that led the league in points with 456, and also held teams to the fewest amount of points with 210. That lets you know that defense was just as vicious as that offense. Now we've named names. Reggie White. Y'all didn't even mention Des Howard, the Heisman, on the special teams.
Yep.
Antonio Freeman. Brett Favre threw for 39 touchdowns to Patrick Mahomes 26 this season. Yes, Patrick Mahomes threw for 4,000 yards, but Brett Favre 9 touchdowns, MVP, or 39 touchdowns, MVP. Like he was just a dog, and he was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I just have to say that I think you're living in the moment picking the Chiefs, And I too am right there in that same damn moment because I too picked the Chiefs.
But when he said that the first seed, when the number one seed has the rules of that era, when you said that the number one seed has the rules of that era, and if the Chiefs are the number one seed, I don't care who's lining up against Patrick Mahomes.
Well, no,
from what era?
No.
They're playing in the 2019.
Hold on, no, it's not the number one seed. It's whoever in that game is the higher seed. So like in this, this game, the 96 Patrick would be home field. Yeah, right. So,
okay. I thought.
So they're playing in
right here. It says, okay.
Even in 1996, see, here's the thing. Bosa is a dog from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Couldn't do nothing with Mahomes.
DeForest Buckner.
And see, Andy Reid is a great coach. Andy Reid is going to game plan for Reggie White. He's going to game plan for him. He's either going to attack him offensively. He's going to do that. So Patrick Mahomes is going to strike a couple times. It may not be as consistent as he's done all season, but he's going to strike a couple times. And he's got weapons with Sammy Watkins, Mecole Hardman, of course, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams coming out the backfield.
I got questions on this one. It don't matter.
That defense. I got to go 2019.
I got questions. I got mad questions on this one.
Go for it.
First of all, y'all just said the 2019 Chiefs are one of the top 8 teams of all time. The 12-4 2019 Chiefs that spotted 3 teams, 15, 20 points apiece, going to the Super Bowl or down, going into the fourth quarter. This team is one of the top 8 teams ever. Like that right there. Yeah, and came back and smacked them. I ain't taking nothing away from the Chiefs. His Packers team, though, Brett Favre was an MVP of the league that year. We mentioned the weapons he had. The defense was no slouch. I want to say they were top 5 in defense.
They were number 1 defense.
Charles Woodson was on his team.
Yeah.
Number 1 defense in the league.
Team.
And they're playing in 96, which means I got to go back and look and see exactly what the coverage rules were for 96, like that era. But I'm pretty sure you could still kind of, put your hands on the wide receivers for a good 5-10 yards before you had to release in 96,
Tyreek Hill still
which would have affected the Chiefs' timing. Now, granted, yeah, that's true. He's faster, probably everybody on the field out there. And
exactly.
True. And even if play breaks down, Pat Mahomes is just going to run around and throw some no-look across the chest pass 40 yards down the field. And
listen, when Smooth was talking about,
you can't really defend it.
When Show was talking about his most difficult game, this was the most difficult one for me because I didn't want to live in the moment. And I do agree that Brett Favre is Pat Mahomes before Pat Mahomes, but Brett couldn't scramble like Pat. Pat got wheels. And Pat is smart. And this is just year 3 for Pat.
It was a little Brett a little wilder with the football than I've seen Pat Mahomes be. Brett would throw it to a group of 6 people, and only one of them was his wide receiver.
Like,
and just hope it was going to get caught.
Doesn't Brett Favre have the most touchdowns and the most interceptions in history?
Yep.
Yep.
So it wasn't easy picking.
So, I get it.
I didn't want to be a prisoner of the moment. My wife was a Chiefs fan. I just talked to her, and she was telling me about. And then, of course, Show just saw that Patrick Mahomes is worth $500 million now. I didn't want to live in that moment, but just like you said, Des, the things we saw him do down 24-0 to Houston and come back and score 51 points in that game, like it's not like they won.
I've never seen that
something else. Here's something else I'm thinking about too. With as fast as that team is, right? Think about how big Reggie White was, how big the defensive lines were, and they're a little bit smaller now as far as like their weight. Patrick Mahomes and that backfield and Tyreek Hill and all them, they would have ran circles around them big dudes. They would have been tired. Reggie would have been gassed. I'm telling you, like it's just they would have game planned for him, and that would have been a factor. Like they would have taken that defensive line out of it.
It just feels wrong. You know what I mean? Like it just feels wrong to say that.
I feel you.
This Chiefs team would beat the Brett Favre. Like everything y'all are saying, I'm like, you're right. But in the very end, at the end of the day, I'm just like, this just don't feel right. This feels wrong. This feels yucky.
Like a buffet at the strip club, it don't feel right. But sometimes you're hungry.
From what I've heard, those are good buffets. So And then the final matchup of the day in the 49ers region. This one is the one that I had no idea what's going to happen here because I'm kind of surprised that this one team has made it this far. And it's the Carolina Panthers. I got the wrong one up here. The 1994 San Francisco 49ers are the 5 seed in this region, and they are taking on the 8 seed, the 2015 Carolina Panthers. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised because it's the same thing with them as it was with the 98 Vikings. If Carolina had not picked a bad day to have a bad day in Super Bowl 50 and had won that Super Bowl, they would probably be considered one of the greatest teams of all time. They would have been 18-1.
Yes.
I saw an article on 535 the other day talking about that 15 Panthers team where they were like the greatest at like win probability after the first quarter because they were I forgot how many times they were blowing people out in the first games that year. They'd be up like 35-0 or something at the start of the second quarter, and like their win percentage would be like 91%, like going into the second quarter, and they did it all year. They destroyed Seattle, they destroyed Arizona in the playoffs, and then they ran into this 2015 Denver Broncos and Von Miller. On the other side, 94 49ers, Steve Young is the quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. I think that season, 94, he still has the record for highest QBR for a quarterback in a season. And these 49ers were rolling, man. Deion Sanders had just came over for the year. Jerry Rice still doing Jerry Rice stuff. John Taylor, not Roger Craig. Ricky Waters was in the backfield. Brent Jones at tight end. Someone I don't know. The Panthers are the higher seed, so you're playing in 1994. But with those defensive rules, that might actually help the Panthers defend the 49ers better. So I'm going to start off with B-Daht. Who would you go with here? The 5 seed 94 49ers or the 8 seed 2015 Carolina for the right to go to the Elite 8?
Sorry, I heard somebody at the door, but I don't recognize them, so I'm not going to answer it. I heard you when you compare, the Panthers to the Vikings. Had they not lost, they might be considered one of the greatest teams of all time. That's a very good point. But the fashion in which the Panthers lost, right? The Vikings game, again, they lost in sudden death, a field goal, and in sudden death, didn't even have a chance to respond. The Panthers were dominated. The Panthers looked scared. The Panthers, they're like they still give Cam Newton hell.
Hold on now, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say they was dominated, Dot. They saw a chance to go up in the lead in the fourth quarter.
24-10 was the final. Folks was looking scared. Again, Cam still gets hell for not going after that fumble. With that being said, that 1994 49ers team that you just talked about with all the great names that you just mentioned, and you conveniently left out Ken Norton, that team ain't losing. That team is not losing. That's the team where Steve Young got the monkey off his back, okay? That's the team, rest in peace to Junior Seau, but that's the team that smacked that Charger squad. You understand? Ricky Waters was a dog. That team right there, Jerry Rice, prime time, they had too much swag. They had too much confidence. They had just gotten over the hurdle of beating the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, the Dallas Cowboys had owned them in the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. Had smacked them. That game was considered the Super Bowl of the time. The 49ers finally got over that hump, beating the Dallas Cowboys. They were not going to be beaten by a Cam Newton-led team who wouldn't even go for a fumble.
Well, Desmond.
Wow. Wow.
Desmond. You know me, man.
Don't do it to me, Chris. Don't
You
do
know
it to
me. I'm a Panthers fan, baby. You know what I'm saying? I was dabbing in 2015. I had one of the best times ever. I was hitting them folks, all that. I was thinking about it. Cam Newton, Ted Ginn Jr., that would have been crazy. Cam Newton to Greg Olsen, that would have been crazy. You got Jonathan Stewart running all crazy. That would have been amazing. But then I had to look at the 94 49ers team. Just remember, I remember Steve Young and Rice and Deion Sanders. But I saw Ricky Waters. I was like, oh, yeah. And I saw Ken Norton Jr. I was like, oh, snap. And I saw Dana Stubblefield. I was like, oh. And then I thought about exactly what Dot said. In that Super Bowl game. That Panthers team is probably one of the best teams ever to not win the Super Bowl. And But they weren't without their flaws, though. If you think about it, in the playoffs, in the NFC Championship game, it could have gotten interesting, or I may have the games flipped. It may not have been an NFC Championship game. It may have been the divisional game before against the Seahawks. The Seahawks could have come back, and they were very close to. The Giants that year had a good chance. Had a good chance of
they were trying, for sure.
Like, there's some games that the Panthers probably could have and should have dropped that year just simply because, other teams were just better. But for some reason, the Panthers were able to pull out that magic. When Cam went to New Orleans and New Orleans came back and New Orleans almost beat him. But Cam had to pull out the Superman like, all right, I'm about to go show y'all. And they came down, they got a field goal, and they were able to win that. Mm-hmm. There's a few games like that where, like, the Panthers probably should have lost, but they found that magic. I don't think that the 49ers are a team that they're going to blow out, the 94 49ers. It's not a team they're going to blow out. It's not a team they're going to go up on like the Cardinals. And that's a team where you're going to have to bring your 100% A game for this. And is Ken Norton Jr. going to let Cam run all over him? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if Ken Norton Jr. is ever going to go up against a quarterback that big and that athletic. But at the end of the day, though,
no.
I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you got Ted Ginn Jr. and Philly Brown as the stars of that receiving core against Deion Sanders. Deion. Prime time.
I had a feeling that part.
Who did they get?
I had a feeling that part was
the funky chicken.
Deion Sanders.
Merton Hanks.
Merton Hanks was the
God,
bro,
man.
They had
Deion Sanders.
Team?
Huh? What are you saying?
Was Eric Davis still at safety?
I don't know.
See, here's the funny part. Eric Davis with the safety 49, he's still on the team in 94. Here's the funny part. This Panther team, this is the 49ers region. They were called the 49ers region because Eric the one seed was the 1989. It was?
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys picked the 49ers. Is that what's happening?
I'm picking the 49ers.
But I was going to say.
And I'm a Panthers fan. And that was very hard for me to do. That was very, very hard for me to do.
It didn't sound very hard. It didn't sound very hard at all. It sounded easy. But they beat the 89
Philly
49ers.
Brown against Deion Sanders.
That's it. I'm glad you came with some comments
all right,
on the show because I just knew you were going to go with your heart on this. And I had to leave because apparently the dog got loose and went next door to the neighbor and they was bringing the dog back. But that's not the here nor there. The fact that you went with your noodle and not your heart and knew that prime time wasn't going to let no wide receiver on the Panthers roster do anything.
Dez. Deion would have picked Cam off. Deion would have picked Cam off and would have gotten a pick six and would have danced all in his face. He would have out-dabbed him. He would have out-dabbed him. I'm telling you,
Deion would have dabbed on Cam. Yeah, he is. He would have. Yeah. I got questions though because that 49ers defense was going to literally make a life-altering decision trying to stop Cam Newton dropping through the line. I mean,
here's another thing that
I get they're number one defense.
I'm going to tell you something else you're not thinking about either that we didn't even bring up. The greatest wide receiver ever, Jerry Rice, against Josh Norman. Now, I love Josh Norman. But you can't tell me that. You can't.
That year?
You can't tell me.
It would have been good that year.
Okay, I got you. But you can't tell me that the greatest wide receiver ever would have done work against Josh Norman.
Oh, he got a little bit. He got a little something.
Don't be a homer on this. Don't be a homer on this. You got to be realistic.
He would have killed them.
You got to be realistic. You got to be realistic on this one.
Well, it don't matter. I mean, the Chiefs moving on. I mean, not the Chiefs. The 49ers are moving on. So, in my opinion, I'm having second thoughts about bringing both y'all on because I didn't get to pick anything. Y'all just basically agreed on 3 of the 4 picks. We got the 98 Vikings and the 2004 Patriots moving on the Bears region, which had to happen. And in the 49ers region, we got the 94 49ers and the 2019 Chiefs. That Chiefs one is still bothering me. I don't know why. It's just bothering me. Like,
because we in the moment.
They're one of the top 8 teams ever.
It bothers me too. I personally don't think that the Chiefs are one of the top 8 teams of all time. But in this, when I'm putting them up against this, I can have them beating them, and that puts them in the top 8.
Des, you know how this works, man. Every NCAA tournament, there's going to be a team that you would not have thought about to be in the top 8. They are not a top 8 team, but they just happen to win their matchups along the way. That's
a favorable bracket.
Oh my
favorable bracket.
And let me just go back to this. I'm looking at the Panthers roster right here. Here are the defensive backs that Jerry Rice didn't have to go against. You got Trey Boston. Young Trey Boston would have been good. He would have been back there as a safety. You got Kurt Coleman.
Can't wrap up nothing.
Kurt Coleman was picking people off that year, so that would have been tough.
He was hitting. He was laying wood that year too.
You got old Roman Harper just trying to get his last paycheck, struggling right there. You got Josh Norman, and on the other side of Josh Norman, you had Robert McClain.
Wait, hold on. Nah, McClain wasn't starting. It was Peanut Tillman. They picked up Peanut Tillman halfway through the year. You remember? Punch. They were knocking balls out.
Was it that year or the year after?
You remember
that year or the year after?
No, it was that year because then Tillman retired. Tillman retired after the Super Bowl year.
Yeah, I know Peanut.
But you're right. They was like
because
they were like 38, 39 years old.
I'm looking on the final roster, and I don't see him on the final roster.
They picked him up mid-season. I remember Tillman clearly on that team because all the defensive backs started punching the balls out. Like the defense started getting turnovers because they learned how to do the peanut punch.
Was he hurt for that game?
Well, that's another episode. He might have been actually. I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I think he was actually. That sounds right. And then he break his arm or something.
Yeah, he was hurt for that game.
I know Thomas Davis broke his arm.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the final roster of who was in that Super Bowl for the Panthers. But yeah, if you would add in Peanut Tillman.
The only thing for me now, of course, the 49ers were a top-ranked defense in 94. The Panthers' run game was a monster in 2015. So really, for me, anytime these Panthers played somebody, it was always, okay, could this defense they're playing, so could the 94 49ers defense stop the RPO with Cam Newton at quarterback, 6'5", 265 pounds, and Jonathan Stewart running with him? Like, that's the key to me. If they can stop that, then the rest of it, like you said, Deion Sanders is running around somewhere in the secondary. He's going to cut off half the field. You going to let Cam just have half a field to play with and try to beat a team with what? How many Hall of Famers have we named that was on the 94 49ers? Like 8?
If Von Miller and that Broncos defense can do it, this 94 49ers defense can.
Yeah. Prime time. So Vikings, Patriots, 49ers, and Chiefs. Prime time. Man.
And Ken
prime time's sprinkled all over this. Because the 95 Cowboys are somewhere still floating around too, if I'm not mistaken. No, they're already out. But yeah, his presence has been felt throughout all of these. I need to thank my panel, Chris and B-Daht. Appreciate y'all coming in for this, man. If y'all want to give me shout outs to anybody, anything y'all got going on with this crazy world we got going on right now, now's the time. Go ahead and give you shout outs.
Hey, I just want to say Black Lives Matter.
I agree with that. Black Lives Matter. Big shout out to everybody that's supporting all of my movements. Appreciate you. I didn't know. Maybe you didn't either.
And I appreciate what y'all are putting out too, the stuff that y'all are doing, and just keeping content out for us that are just kind of sitting around wondering what to do next and not knowing what's going to happen next with everything going on with COVID and everything else going on with in the country. That I think a lot of people are surprised that, we didn't know this was going on. And for all of us, like us three, we're like, this has always been going on. It's just the only difference is everybody's got a camera. You know, that's the only difference. Now we can see what we've been living through our whole lives. So now we'll see what happens. But it does feel, I don't know if maybe it's just me, but this time feels a little different. Like there feels like there's more, I don't know, like more, it's more than just us on our side this time. And that I can feel that. It's palatable. I can feel there's something different. The question is, can we keep it going? So I appreciate both of you gentlemen for doing what you do. Thank you for coming in and doing this with us today on the Rundown. And we'll continue on with the Sweet 16 over the next couple of weeks. We'll get it down to one team who is the greatest NFL team of all time. We'll find out here soon enough. Peace.
Hey there, this is Rod Funderburk, and you've been watching an episode of The Rundown with Desmond Johnson. In order to watch more episodes of The Rundown with Desmond Johnson, please subscribe to Sports Carolina Monthly's YouTube channel.